Well, LeBron James is a big Cowboys fan. He scored 42 points Tuesday in Dallas. Tony Romo was there to see it. And while Romo would not comment on his rehab from back surgery, he did pull LeBron aside after the game to let the King know he was behind him 100%. James himself had some words for the quarterback after the game. He says this, quote, "Just don't care what everybody thinks. You work on your craft, and at the end of the day, if you went out there and gave it all you had and you laid it on the line for you and your teammates, you can sleep comfortably at night." Went on to say, "Don't watch ESPN. Ouch. All these so-called everyone knows what to do, but they never put on a uniform trying to tell you what to do. It's not about that. I think Tony's at a point now in his career where he's one of the great quarterbacks we have in our game. It's because of his work ethic." You guys did put on uniform.
We did, and we worked for ESPN.
Yes, you did.
Here we go.
I wonder if he's watching right now. Brunell, let's start with you. Where do you think at this point, after all these years, Tony Romo needs to improve so he can make it into the postseason and do some damage?
Listen, Tony, he can make all the throws. His numbers are great, but surprisingly for Tony Romo, his fundamentals in certain areas are lacking. Many times he throws off his back foot. You know, sometimes he'll sit in that pocket, he'll get a little impatient, a little nervous, back right, and, you know, doesn't give up any problems. But look at his, I'm talking about the fundamentals. His feet are spread wide right there. He makes a poor decision, a poor throw. If you're going to complete this pass, you've got to step towards your target. You cannot be accurate like that. He drops back here once again. Look at, he's throwing off his back foot. You're not going to get any zip on the ball. And again, you're not going to be accurate. We see too much of this from Tony Romo. Now, for every one of those plays, he has a great play, but here he steps into the ball. But again, off his back foot, doesn't completely transfer his weight, and that is where you see him lacking in the accuracy department sometimes. He'll make some good throws, but fundamentally at this point of his career, he needs to be solid. Great work ethic, all that. He's well coached, but too many times you see those thrown off his back foot, feet spread apart, making poor decisions. That has to change if he wants to get to that next level.
Stink?
I think he's one of the best quarterbacks we have in the National Football League, but he does make those mistakes, and especially late in games. And some of that goes on to that coaching staff. Some of that goes on to the way they call plays. But late in games, especially in pressure-packed games, you can't throw picks like that. You've got to understand the situation. You've got to make better throws. There we see a little jump pass again. What you talked about, Mark, with the lacking mechanics. You make bad decisions late, you cost your football team. Some of that goes to coaching for me, but a lot of that goes to Tony Romo. You've got to be able to understand the situation and make great plays, especially in games like Green Bay, when you have an enormous lead, when you can live to kind of fight another day. Those are decisions you have to make.
And not only are those problems that Tony Romo has to fix, he also has to be a manager of egos. And I'm not talking about players. I'm talking about coaches, the revolving door of decision makers that is in Dallas. You have three play callers, two of them former, on the same team. Jason Garrett used to call plays. Bill Callahan used to call plays. So now Scott Linehan is going to call plays. So for Tony Romo to succeed this year, it's almost like he has to manage those type of egos and those attitudes and decide, make those guys work together to put together the best offensive game plan for the Dallas Cowboys.
And for Cowboys fans who are wondering, it should not be an issue for opening day. He should be back for mini camp from this type of back surgery, although right now, as I mentioned, Tony Romo is not talking.